Hey there, and welcome back to my stream. I'm Alex Preda, and let me put the music a little bit lower. Actually, this track that you're hearing on the background is one of my recent tracks. Was released earlier this year in February. It's called "Staying Here," and it was released on LK Klein's label Days Like Nights. I've been playing this track quite a bit, and it works, so I'm really happy, satisfied with that. And I have done in my previous streams. I worked on a new track, and yesterday I did a walkthrough of what I've been doing in this track, which is, by the way, completed. But now I'm going to do a kind of a deconstruction of this track from Days Like Nights, Staying Here. Let me show you the screen with it. So yeah, basically this is the release on Beatport, and I'm going to take one element at a time, and then I'll basically deconstruct it and show you how it was done, and yeah, my process really. So this will be stretched on several days. So yeah, if you want to check this track online, you can do it on my Beatport page or on Spotify, wherever you feel like it. So I'm going to close this for now. In a way, this track came pretty quick to me and natural, and I think it's one of those tracks that I've made in pretty much 2 days or 3 days or so. So it came really. I don't know. I was in a flow, and I love those moments. It's just amazing when I make a track from start to finish in just a few days, and then I'm also happy with the result. Of course, I did some tweaks, later on, just to make it fit a bit nicely, and done the mixing, and I've done like my own master. But still, one of the hardest things really is to come up with an idea that you're really happy with, and that's basically that's the creativity flow. And sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have it, so you just have to, in a way, fight through all the rubbish that comes out, and then you hit a time and space in your mind where things just flow. So this track was basically when was made when I was in that flow state, when everything was just flowing through me really easy. Alrighty. So this is how it sounds in the project. Maybe a bit too loud. Oh, this should be fine. So, I'm going to start with the drums, because I have, well, I actually took several samples of kicks, and I dropped them in, and see, these are, well, I like to name my samples with the key, whenever is possible. Some of the samples, of course, some of the percussive elements, they do not necessarily have a key, so it's, you know, you can use them pretty much anywhere. Like, I don't know, a click of a kick, for instance, that's not necessarily in a key. But whenever it's possible, I like to name my samples, so then I know in what key they are, and then I just drop them in until I think I have enough, and then I just go one by one and I see whatever works, either the melody that I have created or with the other elements that I have going in the track. And actually this track I started first with the melody, and then I added all the other elements, but I'll just start with the kick, and I have two parts of the kick. I have normal kick, sounding like this. And actually this is a kick I've been using in quite a lot of my tracks, which many of them are released. But this is, I really like this kick. It's, I don't know, it has quite a bit of low end, but also it has character. And now maybe sounds a bit more hollow, and yeah, there are some frequencies there which are not in the right place, but actually when all the other elements are coming on top, then, you know, the mix starts to make sense. So it's interesting. So this is also pretty low. Actually, it goes. Let me show the EQ. See, so it has quite a bit of low going on there, but most of the character is here. So that's what I'm in principle interested in. However, when these two are together, okay, well, except the part that there is some ambient stuff in the background, but that I like, and it works. So basically these are my, well, this is my basis. However, I have on the drum group, I've got this UAD Fulltech plugin, and this is again coming from my sound card. Well, actually the processing happens on my sound card on the UAD, and with minimal settings, it, in a way, it acts also like a glue compressor, in case you're familiar with that. So yeah, that's a very important part of my drumming arrangement. And also, so I looped everything here, the kick, but I always make sure that here at the beginning of the sample, yeah, because here I have, obviously I have my break, and this track has a pretty long break, about 2 minutes, quite long. And yeah, when I take the kick out, basically, and I bring it back, it's important to have a bit of tail beforehand, because sometimes there is the click of the kick which is captured a moment there before it actually has all the low end and everything. So that's why I do this. Actually, there's a setting in Ableton. Let me see. Where was it? I think here. And this one, create fades on clip edges. Some people enjoy working with this. Some people don't, like myself. So if I would put this on, actually every single sample that I drag in my Ableton, it will create something like this automatically. And then for all percussive elements that you have, you will have this fade in. But you don't want to have the fade in necessarily on all the elements. So that's yeah, for me, I prefer to have it off and then I'll do it manually. But even so, even with that off, if my kick starts there, then it's still missing a tiny bit of the attack right there. So better if like this. And this particular mid kick here, the reason why I liked it was because there is the sort of attack. It's a bit more to the left comparing to the kick, and then it creates this just a few milliseconds, as you can see it. When you have two kicks and then you are putting them on top of each other, you can have the phasing, and then you can have this dephasing when you're moving it left or right, up to the point when you go out of sync. But sometimes when you make up the kicks, you build them up, then it's nice to have this, let's say, this off phasing, which is in a way giving, I don't know, more character to the kick, but it's of course dependent on what kind of samples are being used. And yeah, obviously the quality, and it's important to layer with different yeah, kick sounds really. And then I have here, actually let me mute everything else. So, and then I have this low hat. And obviously this is a click. But then again, with everything else, oh, with everything else, it's nice. And later on, because this is my one of the first, it's the first version of the project, really. But then later on, what I have done, I have added on top of this. This is actually is the Torah verb, but I have updated it. So I'm gonna go to the Torah verb, drop it in again because it had a bit of reverb on it. Yeah. So the reverb, it's actually not too much. Oh, here's the dry wet. Okay. Yeah, something like this. And I had a compressor. And actually this one, it was used as a side chain with a kick. So this one was in this fashion used. Then you have the bouncy effect. What I also like to do, I like to play with the gain, because this is telling to the compressor how much should sidechain. But if it's all the way to the max, it's pretty heavily sidechained. So in this case, just a little bit, not that much. Obviously the ratio also has a big impact. Yeah, I think this is a good setting for sure. Yeah. But I just realized that my camera is on the other side of the screen and you cannot see my adjustments that I've done on the compressor. And now you can see it. You can see a bit of the chain that I have here. Actually, for now, it's nothing too complex, and with certain elements, I tend to do a lot of processing. But for me, what's really important is to have in my sample library to have the sounds that I really like. Let's see now. This is a cymbal, reverse cymbal. And again, this one also is not mixed. You can hear it. It has quite a bit of low end. And when I refer to low end, yeah, it's just too much that rolls off towards the low end. Too much information, but that one can be, of course, fixed. So normally I would do something like this. So that's part of it, and then I add a bit of delay, and but I have to check again my chain here because yeah, see, this is the I have upgraded Ableton Live and updated, not upgraded, and then it uses a different version of the delay, so I'll have to upgrade also there. Yeah, and I have this J37 delay from Waves, which is actually pretty cool. And last year I used it a lot in many of my tracks. I use this delay, and actually I'm still using it now, but not as much anymore. So the moment when I mix down Staying Here, this track, I did a bit more processing on the like parallel processing. So see here just above my camera, yeah, there is I have my send return channels. Anyhow, but when I drop a bit of delay on this one, on the cymbal, reversed cymbal, it's nice. So it goes from left and then in a way it turns around in the no, sorry, it goes from right and then it turns around in the left. And you see the settings that I have here on my delay time. I've got the triplet 1 to 8, and then I have 1 to 64, also triplet. And that can get really, really crazy if I send it a lot. And obviously the level has to be more. This is more like the level here acts like a feedback on a normal delay. These rides that you see here below, they have a really interesting character. It goes from uh, like closed filter in a way, and then full full ride hit right here. So it makes this nice movement, in a way making you dance. And this is obviously it's an important part of the drum composition, because you want to have this movement, when just the drums are making you dance, and then everything else that you add on top basically just blends in nicely together and it complements each other. So um I have it here at the build up. I have it pretty straight, as you heard it. It repeats quite often, but then it goes back to the original loop. So okay, I hope you have enjoyed this intro for the Staying Here walkthrough. Alrighty, I'll tune out and wish you a good evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are. Ciao.